Hey everybody, I'm John at Collect Cards. Hope you're all doing well. It is late Sundays, December 29th. 2024 is almost behind us. And this is actually my last video of the calendar year. In this video, I'm going to show a few cards, in recent pickups actually, but I'm going to more than anything else tie them into kind of an update on goals that I have had. Loose goals for the most part. I would say one is like a real, like dedicated goal right now that will take time. In fact, it'll take past even 2025. But there are a couple of other kind of offshoot goals, and one that I need to update that I'll just get into here when I'll turn the phone around in a bit and show you some cards and talk about them some more. But just to outline, as a general outline, the goals are making continuing progress on my 1954 Hall of Famer run of cards that are not in the top set. I have a 1954 Topps Complete set, and I'm seeking to add more Hall of Famers to that kind of roster, so to speak, from players and baseball figures who had cards in 1954 but not in Topps. So there's that goal. That's my most kind of like front burner goal. Then there is 1978 Topps Hall of Fame run. I need to add one more card. Congratulations to Dave Parker for getting into the Hall of Fame earlier this month, or for being elected. He'll be inducted next summer. So I'll be seeking a PSA 7 or 8 of his card in the months to come, because I completed the 78 Hall of Fame run back in like late spring, and I had started it in 2023. And now I'll need to add one more card to that Hall of Fame run. Looking forward to doing that, but I'm just going to wait for the right card to come along. So there's that, and then two other goals I have, or kind of more like they're not like they're kind of goals, but they're more like just they're more interests, I guess you could say. One of them is this player manager interest that I've talked a bit about recently, and I'll talk about it some more in this video. And then lastly is 1961 Topps. I have, I just yesterday actually, at my LCS, I picked up the 29th Hall of Famer for that Hall of Fame group. From that set, there are 85 cards of Hall of Famers in that set, so that's sort of an interest of mine that maybe I'll continue to sort of pursue, because I do enjoy the 61 Topps set quite a bit. But okay, so with those four things in mind, I'm going to turn the phone around, show you a few cards, talk a little bit more about these goals/interests, and we'll take it from there. So hang on. So before I dive into the four goals I outlined just before, the end-all, be-all goal for 2025, I should have said at the outset, is getting the real version of this card. This is the real goal for 2025. This is my main hope for pickup next year. It's the 1940 play ball, Joe DiMaggio. So this has been serving as inspiration for the last several months, and I want to say I intend to pick up the real copy sometime next year. We'll see. The savings plan has been in the works. It continues, and So with that in mind, with that sort of established as the primary goal for 2025, let's get back to those other four things that I am interested in pursuing over the next year. Okay, so I'm going to start with that last interest, maybe more an interest than a goal that I was just referring to, which was the 1961 Topps set. And I happen to have 29 Hall of Fame cards from the 85 Hall of Famers that are in the set, and this is the most recent one I just picked up. I picked this up yesterday at one of my two LCSs in town. Brooks Robinson, card number 10. Off center left, pretty extreme off center left, but I don't know, the razor sharp corners and the overall look of the card beyond the centering kind of just pulled me in yesterday, and I think I got it for a pretty good price, $25. Um, there's a good chance I'm going to grade this card, um, and assuming I do send it in, I'm going to hope for a 5 on it. I don't think it can do much better than a 5, even with the razor sharpness on it. It's just probably just too off center to do much better than a 5. A 6 is probably out of the question. Who knows? Maybe a 5.5 is doable, but overall, I think it's a pretty nice copy. Couple of fisheyes. Beyond that, though, the image is pretty good. I mean, look at his eyes right there. Pretty crisp. Nice card. I don't know, this one, sometimes the card just sort of like says, you know what, I'm a pretty nice example. I might not be perfect. My centering's a little bit off, but yes, I'm talking as if the card was talking. Anyway, it's a nice card, and so I thought I would add it this weekend, so I did. So got Brooks Robinson 61 Topps. Again, I have 29 of the 85 Hall of Famers, and that includes none of the All-Stars in that set, actually, which are really, those are tough high numbers. And I have a few of the MVP subsets. I probably have 5 or 6 of those who are Hall of Famer. No, I have 5 or 6, I think, total, and maybe 3 of them are Hall of Famers. So I mean, there are a number of big cards in that set that I need to have, but at the same time, I have several of the big cards already from that. I have all 3 big rookies in Marichal, Santo, and Billy Williams. I've got the Mickey Mantle. I've got a Willie Mays. Some of these are not great examples, but it's like I'm not looking necessarily for high-end cards because that's just not realistic or in my budget. But I don't know. It's just something that sort of gradually happened, and here I am. I have 34% of the set, so of the Hall of Famers. So it's something I might continue doing and pick away at in 2025. We'll see. The set, it's an interesting set. It sort of represents, expansion beginning in baseball, with, in earnest, the expansion era. So in that sense, it's kind of a momentous set, or a kind of a significant set in terms of card history. But yeah, it's overall, I'm told. I'll show the Brooks one more time and then we'll move on. I tend to like simpler, cleaner designs, and that's what 61 represents to me, with pretty good photography. Like, this is an example of a pretty good posed image, I think. It's cropped just right, in my opinion. Kind of chest up, or, torso up, so to speak. And, there are a lot of hatless players in the set as well, as they did throughout the 60s. But this is a pretty nice card in particular, I think. And, we'll see where I go with it over the new year. So let me go into, I'll skip to the 78 goal again, just to mention again, I'm going to look for a Dave Parker card, 560, I believe it is, in a PSA 7 or 8, because all my other cards from that set in the run that I did are in 7s or 8s PSA, and so that's what I'll be looking for, and I haven't found one actually yet. I haven't been able to find really lots of 6s I'm finding, but 7s and 8s have been tough, or even like I just haven't been finding them enough these last couple of weeks since Parker got elected. Since I didn't find one initially or quickly, I've got a saved search somewhere, maybe eBay, maybe ComC. I can't remember where I have it, but I'll keep looking, but it's not something I'm like racing to get. I'll get it when I get it. So there's that goal. So that'll be 50, I think it's 56 total Hall of Fame cards then it would be, once I do pick that up. But let's move on to the player manager piece, and then we'll finish off on the 54 goal. And I'll try to just be as quick as I can on this. I want to make this a relatively quick video. So player managers, I basically wrote up a little list of the cards that I'm looking for that I'm going to show here on the screen for a bit. And it's going to be, it's a list that includes up to 14 cards. And I say up to because that depends if I want to pick up something like these 1912 or 1915 Red Sox manager cards, which, And again, some of these cards are pricey cards. So this is like a pick away kind of list that I just might look to do over time. Part of it is I'm just drawn to the player manager. I think it's a fascinating part of baseball history, in my opinion. Just kind of just something I'm interested in, especially when they had success. And the player managers on this list all had success either in that season or the season prior, pretty much. Or I think in the case of Pie Trainer, in the case of the Pie Trainer Diamond Stars card, he was player manager or was about to become player manager in 35. He wasn't a very successful manager, but I just think that's a beautiful card. I love the Pie Trainer Diamond Stars card, and so I want to pick that one up, regardless of his success as a manager. But all the other ones, I believe, on this list, either won a pennant that season or the season prior, or won the World Series that season, or the prior season. And so I have indicated in green the cards that I currently have, but I actually just added another one. And so I'm going to show it here now, since you've been looking at a fake little Christmas tree thingy for the last 5 minutes. So let me update the slide. And I just picked up this card just in the last week or two. Actually, I'll hold it for a minute. It's the 1933 Goudey Joe Cronin. Now, Joe Cronin's got 3 cards in this set, and this is the one I like the most. It's the dark blue background, where you can see his Washington Senators W initial on his cap and jersey. And yeah, as you can see, this is a pretty worn example. However, I will certainly grade it. And it'll probably will grade a 1. It could maybe grade a 1.5. Let's see if I can get it. There, it's pretty good focus. I do love the blue background. I still think it's in pretty good condition, even with the creasing going on. A little bit of a scratch there. But overall, I think it's for me and for this little collecting interest I have with these player managers, I think this is a great enough example for me. This was one card, like Joe Cronin's a great ball player, Hall of Famer, was probably not one on the list that I was looking to spend hundreds on. And if I could make it happen, and I was able to make it happen, and I'll explain in a sec. So I love adding this to the collection in the way that I did. Well, real quick, first, Joe Cronin was the manager of the 1933 Washington Senators, player manager of the Washington Senators. They won the American League pennant in 1933. They lost to the New York Giants in the World Series, managed by Bill Terry, who you just saw on that list previously. That's one that I'm targeting for 2025. Actually, I'm really looking to pick up that card, and I have been for some time. I just think it's one of my favorite pre-war cards, actually, so I look forward to getting it. But anyway, let's put the Cronin here for a sec, off to the side. So I got this card in a lot, actually. I won an auction lot on the CIA auctions, the setup that Jeremy Donson, the Texas Snowman, and he said it's his new auction platform that baseball collector, investor, dealer, in that order, is also a part of, I believe, in some way. And so, anyway, Chris Sewell. So the name was escaping me there. Sorry, Chris, if you're watching. But I picked this up with 9, I believe it was a 10-card lot, and I have all the other cards here. They're all raw, and I'm just going to show them really quick. It was a very interesting lot, and in all likelihood, I'm only going to keep maybe 2 of the cards, and I'm going to sell the rest, and then we'll figure out exactly how much I ended up paying for the Cronin after I do that. But I won the lot for, it was just over 100. I think out the door was about 125 with the buyer's premium. I think it was roughly 125 or 126. And so when I grade the Cronin, I'll be in for, I another 15, but I'm actually going to grade 3 of these other cards that I'm going to show here. This is not one of the ones. All of these cards are in pretty much poor condition, but they're very interesting. So here's a 1951 Bowman Johnny Vandermeer. As you can see, it's severely stained. I actually have this one up on eBay right now. The auction goes until next Sunday. Great card, except for that staining. So there's one. Just going to handle them pretty gently. They're all, that was actually, in terms of corners and such, was probably the best of the lot, actually. So that's why I don't have any of these in penny sleeves at the moment. They will go in them probably after I do this video. I just think it's been fun kind of gently handling them, because when do you get to handle Goudeys and batter-ups, you know, raw? But again, this is obviously an authentic version, and I'm trying to remember Burns' first name. I had it and I can't remember it, but it's card 18 or 16. One or the other. I can't quite make out that number. Burns is a first baseman on the St. Louis Browns. Very worn, as you can see. This card. So most of these cards, if you are interested in these, perhaps reach out to me, because this is a card that would be going either on eBay or on ComC that I would be sending out probably in the next week or so. But I got a few other cards in this lot I'm going to show really quick. It's just a fun lot to pick up, especially for this one. And it'll be interesting again to see when I move most of these other cards, what I end up netting in terms of a cost for this Cronin. It's just a little bit of an experiment on my part here, and I thought for 125 bucks it was worth it. Bump Hadley, 1933 Goudey, very, very wrinkly, creasy. And will grade a poor. So this is one card. There are 3 cards in this group that I'm going to send out for grading, unless anyone watching this video might be interested in one of these cards. Again, reach out to me in like the next week or so, because I will be planning to send a few of these out to SGC in the coming week, probably just after New Year's, actually. Anyway, so Bump Hadley was on the Browns, I think. Yeah, he was on the Browns at the time. I believe he was a Yankee. Later, he's in 38 Goudey, I believe, as a Yankee, as a big head. But so I got that one. Look at this one right here. If I can gently pick it up. I got another 1935 Goudey. So I picked up a 35 Goudey Mickey Cochran Tigers 4-1, as Charlie Gehringer in it as well, for the PC, for this player manager goal that I'm doing. But because Cochran was the manager of that 35 Tigers World Champion team. This Phillies card was in the lot. We'll also grade a 1 if I end up sending it in, but if it's something you might be interested in, reach out. But just kind of cool to just handle, again, gently. But that came in the lot. And then this card I'm actually going to hold on to, because I'm not even sure if I can move this card. Look at all the paper loss even on the front. But it's a New York Giant, and I enjoy collecting New York Giants cards along with the Yankees, because again, my dad and my grandfather were New York Giants fans. Now, my dad wasn't born in 41, but my grandfather was, I imagine, was probably rooting for the Giants at this point. It's a 1941 Babe Young. And I'll just hold on to it as an example from the 41 set raw. I love the Art Deco stuff. Just love it. I think that's just really, really cool. And let's see, I got a few more of these I'm going to show really quick. These two are very interesting, actually. I'm going to show them together. So this is a St. Louis Cardinals team issue from 1941. These cards are incredibly thin. And this is Lon Warneke, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his name, and Eddie Lake here. And as you can see, they both have writing on it, and it's from the same name is on here, is written on here, which is kind of fascinating, actually. So they both came in the lot, and these 2 cards, I don't think I'm going to actually grade these cards. I don't know, these are the 2 wild cards right now, because the rare times they've sold, they haven't sold for very much. Like literally like $10 or even less, especially in this condition. So it's like, I don't even know if it's worth grading. I might, because again, they don't sell very often, so who knows, if they come back a 1, which they would, someone might be interested. and maybe a few people would. But those, I'm not sure how I'm going to work those. If you're interested in them yourself, again, reach out. 2 other cards from this lot. This card here, look at the hand cut awesomeness on this one. I can't even remember the set here. 1949 MP and Company, I think it was. If I'm wrong on that, correct me, please. But this is Buddy Kerr of Boston, and honestly, I couldn't even remember if he was Red Sox or Braves. But again, this is a card I will be moving in some way, somehow. But if this is something that interests you, reach out. And then the last one from this set, this one's pretty interesting. I'm definitely going to move it, and I'm going to grade it. It's a T206. Got a T206 of Orville overall, Chicago Cubs pitcher. It's a pretty nice front. Got some miscoloring there on the left, but the centering's pretty good. It does have paper loss on the back. Piedmont 460, I guess it would be. And yeah, I mean, beyond the paper loss, it's a halfway decent card, but it'll grade a 1 as a result. This one would definitely be, I'll definitely be sending this in along to SGC along with that 35 4-in-1 Goudey and the Bump Hadley 33 Goudey. Unless, again, anyone interested in any of the cards I just showed, reach out by all means. Except for the Vandermeer. The Vandermeer actually already has a bid on it on eBay, so I wouldn't be able to move it outside of that. But if you're interested, that's where this one lives right now. But okay, but that was a really fun, just sort of auction buy to get this card that I was really excited about picking up. So, so the last, I'm just going to keep this on screen while I kind of give you a quick update on the last goal here, which is actually the one that's most on my kind of front burner, like I said at the start of the video, and I know I'm over 20 minutes now. But if you're still watching, I appreciate it. Thank you, as always. And if you're enjoying it, I encourage you to like and or subscribe even too. That would be awesome. Thanks for considering. The 1954 goal. So I have been going into this goal. I had started this goal in mind as a 14-card goal. 13 Bowmans and 1 Red Heart. Basically, again, these are baseball players who do not have cards in the 1954 top set. I just gravitated toward 1954 tops 3.5 years ago when I got back in the hobby because A, it's an iconic set. I love the design. And it's the year the New York Giants won the World Series. And for the reasons I just shared earlier, kind of that the whole, family thing. I grew up in New York. I live in Michigan now and have for a while. Just those little connections you try to maintain. I naturally kind of gravitated to that 54 year. In some ways, I see it as almost like a peak of the golden age baseball in New York. Even though only one team made the World Series that year, and most of those 50s years you had 2. It was just sort of, after 55 maybe people would say would be the peak when the Dodgers beat the Yankees, and it's quite possible it was. And then it was a fairly precipitous fall because, 2 years later, 2 teams left for California. But I just gravitated to 54. And so I want to have all of the players represented who are in the Hall of Fame from that year in some way or fashion. And so I had thought it was for a 14-card search. 13 in Bowman, 1 in Red Heart. I'm showing the list here. I have been for a few minutes. But I just, for whatever reason, just started wondering, what about some of these other Hall of Famers who I know were in the game in 1954? There've got to be some more cards out there. And there probably even are, beyond the two new ones that I realized needed to be on this list. And so it's now a 16-card goal, long story short. The first new addition is that I need to find is the 1954 Dan D Potato Chips Al Lopez, Cleveland Indians manager. 1954 Indians, they won 111 games. How did Al Lopez, Topps and Bowman, of course, didn't know his team was gonna win that many games that year, but he was a well-established manager of that team, I believe, already, and the Indians were, I think, an upper division team in the AL for a while, and they won the '48 World Series not long before with Luber. Oh gosh, the player manager from '48, who's on the other list that I just showed. Not Lou Burdett, Lou Boudreau. I'm just riffing here, as you could tell. But anyway, Al Lopez, he's a Hall of Fame manager. And so he managed that '54 Indians team. He's got a card in Dandy Potato Chips. I want it. And then the last name that I kind of just came across in recent days. It's from the 1954 New York Journal American newspaper, like sweepstakes cards. And the player then is a Hall of Fame manager, Dick Williams. Dick Williams has a Brooklyn Dodgers card in that set, if you would call it a set, that I would like to get. And so those are two new examples, or two new cards for this goal that I would love to get next year, actually, because I think it would be, it's the Al Lopez is easy to find. I'm finding examples, not like there's not tons of them, but there are examples that you can find. Dick Williams, gonna be a little harder. There was actually a eBay auction of a not very nice PSA. I think it was like a 5 or a 5.5, and it went for just more than what I was willing to pay for it. And so maybe I'll grow to regret not following through on that, but I'm hopeful that sometime in 2025 I'll come across just a decent enough example for me at a price I'm more like comfortable with for this goal. Maybe it's something like the Strongsville show, assuming I'm going to that in April, which I think I will be. Maybe I'll find it there, for example, but we'll see. But yeah, it's a 16 card goal now. I've got overall I have 9 of them. So yeah, looking forward to making progress on that in 2025. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this video. Again, if you've been hanging out throughout, I really appreciate it. And let me know what if you have some particular goals in mind for 25 of your own, or share your thoughts on what you think of some of the ones I'm looking at. So I'd be very interested in knowing. So with that, thanks again, everyone. This is going to be my last video for 2024. I'm going to come at you probably on New Year's Day with my top 25 cards currently in my collection. So look forward to putting that one together for you here in the next day or so. So with that, take care, everyone. See you next time.